Hey mama, welcome to the Mosaic Mom Life podcast, where we help moms just like you discover your purpose and build a life you love. I'm Laura Stuffelbaum Holt, a wife, mom, and career coach for stay-at-home moms who want to confidently transition back into the working world. See, we all have these random, seemingly scattered pieces of our lives that make up who we are. And especially as stay-at-home moms, it's tempting to see that as nothing more than a pile of junk that hasn't amounted to much of anything. But that's not how God sees it. He sees a beautiful mosaic. Each fractured piece of your life has a specific placement and purpose in His design. Romans 8:28 says that we know that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to His purpose. So, let's take Him at His word and confidently dive into the incredible mosaic mom life He is piecing together just for you. Here we go. Hey, we are in a Barbie movie phase right now. I don't know what stage of life you are in, but we are in a Barbie movie phase. I have two girls at home, and this is our second time going through this whole Barbie princess phase. Our 4-year-old wanted me to sit and watch a movie with her the other day, and the one that she chose was Barbie and the Musketeers. Now, I vaguely remembered this one from when my older daughter was in her Barbie princess phase, but I caught something new this time around. So, basic overview of the movie, right? This is Barbie playing the character Corinne, who is a French peasant who dreams of being a musketeer, saving the royal family in France, just like her father did. But instead, she ends up getting laughed at and then ends up working at the palace as a maid. And pretty soon, just by virtue of being in the palace, she uncovers a plot to assassinate the prince and teams up with 3 other maids who also wanted to be musketeers to save him. So, needless to say, there are some pretty epic, exciting scenes in there. But in these final battle scenes where they're saving the prince, what really struck me was the amount of confidence in these young women. I mean, they are using ribbon nunchuck thingies and using necklaces as slingshots to shoot jewels as ammunition, and they're wielding broomsticks for swords and using actual swords and flinging hand fans everywhere and even spraying perfume as a distraction. I mean, they have all the things, and it's just awesome. But all of these weapons being confidently wielded by women nobody believed could be helpful in times of trouble was just awesome. I mean, they are saving the prince. They are rocking it. They are flying through the air and sticking the landing. I loved it. I just loved it. And yes, it's a cartoon. Yes, it's fiction. But man, I love that my girls get to see these strong female characters like, French palace maids saving the day and ultimately becoming musketeers. Now, I don't feel bad for spoiling the ending for you because it's a Barbie movie. If you want to watch it, go watch it yourself. It's really good. But these are such great examples of the strong, courageous women I want my daughters to be. And more than anything, I want my girls to see how these characters are able to be so confident in the face of so much disrespect, because life is not always going to be kind to our kids. We don't like that, but that's how it is. So I want my girls to see that they can do the things even when they don't feel supported in the mission that they feel God has given them to do later on in their lives, or now, whenever. So let's take a minute and think, what can we learn from Barbie and the Musketeers for ourselves, for our girls, for our kids in general? How were these characters able to be so confident when this plot to kill the prince went down? Like, how did this happen? So the way I figure it is there's 3 things happening. 1, they knew the threat they faced. They knew their mission. They had figured out that the prince was in trouble, and they were the ones who knew what was happening. Nobody else believed them, so it was up to them. 2, they had one older woman, also a servant in the palace, who trained them, who mentored them and encouraged them, told them what needed to happen next. Bonus, she had also been in their situation before and had to kind of step up and covertly save some people in the royal family, which is pretty cool. So they had a mentor, number 2. Number 3, they practiced their tails off. Some of those middle of the movie scenes where they're practicing and just are so dog tired that they can hardly stand up really shows that this kind of skill, this kind of confidence doesn't happen just because we try it once. We have to really work at it and practice. So they knew they had what it takes to do the job because they had prepared for it. So how do we then, as stay-at-home moms, prepare for the battles ahead, whatever they may be? So let's break this down for us. Number 1, we need to discover our mission. I mean, how many times have you thought, well, I don't really know what God wants me to do with my life, but I think I might really like to do whatever. Many times, moms already have ideas about their mission. They may have dreams, ideas, but many times those dreams are kind of lying dormant. They're back shelf, back burner until we can get the kids going whatever direction they need to go. But they're there. So if you don't have a dream, a mission kind of in the back of your brain, or if you just want to confirm it, first step is to read your Bible, pray like crazy, and listen for that voice of discernment to say, this is the way, walk in it. And God will show you what's next. It's likely something that's going to feel or seem impossible, but it's something you can do with His help and His provision. So that's our first step as stay-at-home moms. We're going to figure out what that mission is. Step 2, we're going to find a mentor. Titus talks about how the older women in the church need to be mentoring the younger ones. We need to go find an older woman who's been where we are and can help guide the way. So an older woman from your church or someone in your field that you're hoping to enter or re-enter, or maybe if you're looking for clarity on this mission, or if you're looking for clarity on your mission and just need someone to walk you through the job search process, I would love to be your mentor. You can get started with a clarity coaching call at scatteredwoman.com/clarity, and then we can go from there. Or you can also join the Mom Career Restart group on Facebook. That link is scatteredwoman.com/community. It is a great place to just go ask questions, learn from other mamas who are walking the same road, and we're all discovering our Mosaic mom lives together. So again, that link is scatteredwoman.com/community. Okay, so that's step 2. Find a mentor. Wherever you can find one, find someone who can be your guide for the journey. Step 3, practice. We saw this in the movie. Practice, practice, practice. But we need to learn the skills that we need to learn and then practice them. So this also includes taking inventory of whatever natural skills and abilities you already possess. I mean, one of those palace maids in the movie already had mad engineering and design skills to be able to turn a necklace into a slingshot. They already had skills. We already have skills. We just have to figure out what those are. So doing some inventory like we talked about in a previous episode. So we can practice by finding volunteer opportunities that put those skills to use. You can dive into a part-time job that you can do remotely from home. You could start your own freelance business using those skills. There's all sorts of ways that we can practice. The goal is just to practice. And the awesome thing about practice is you're demonstrating for your kids that any skill worth having requires practice. If you have kids like mine who want to do it right the first time and absolutely despise any sort of having to practice things and do it over and over and over again, it is so good to just live this out in front of them. Say, you know what? I have to learn things too. I have to practice to get these things right. That's just part of life. Okay, so when we have discovered our mission, found a mentor, and practice, we're going to feel completely confident and ready that we have what it takes to tackle the challenge we've been preparing for when it finally arrives. So let me walk you through an example. So Natalie is one of our wonderful listeners, and when I asked her what her dream job might be after her kiddos are older, she said she'd been thinking about being an editor was one of the options that she kind of threw out there. Now, she may have a more specific dream, like being a newspaper editor or a magazine editor or a book editor. But for this example, we're just going to go with the general kind of editor dream. So knowing that dream helps her get going with step number 1. She's beginning to discover that mission. And I would definitely encourage her to keep taking that dream to God and asking Him what He wants her to do with it. Whether there's a specific route to go or specific people to touch base with, whatever kind of skills that she already has, where would those skills take her within this editor dream? And just let God keep refining that vision and guiding her on to the next steps. Which takes us to number 2. Step number 2, finding a mentor. So this could look like finding someone she already knows who's in that editor field already, shadowing them in person or virtually, talking to them over coffee, picking their brain about what it's like to be an editor, what kind of preparation they think is most beneficial. And a side note, it might not be as anything formal as college. It could just be something really simple for preparation, but there's usually some sort of preparation for whatever field. And then just ask them if they or someone else they know would be willing to help her with step 3, which is practice. You knew that was coming. So if Natalie doesn't know any editors, maybe this is a whole new thing. She doesn't know anybody in that field. The online world is going to be her best friend. There are lots of professional editors and proofreaders who teach online courses to help people prepare to enter these fields. So I would encourage Natalie to find someone online that she connects with. Follow a few different people on social media, watch their YouTube videos, listen to their podcasts, and narrow it down to one that she thinks she would really like to continue learning from more in depth. Then go take their course, do their membership program, whatever their way of working with them is, just dive in and start working with them. Going through an online course is going to give her lots of opportunities to practice in step 3 as well. So however Natalie decides to go about finding a mentor, either in person or online, she's then going to dive into practicing. Maybe she takes some beginner level proofreading tasks for her editor friend and says, I can do those. So she's practicing by just offering her time to people she knows. Or she offers to proof and edit her church's bulletin or weekly newsletter. Something small to give her a quick win and boost her confidence that she can do this kind of work. And if she goes with an online mentor and takes a course, like I said, there's lots of practice built into online courses. Then, once she feels confident in these basic editing skills, she can move on to more in-depth resume building type practice. Maybe something like finding a remote editing job through those in-person connections she can do for a few hours a week while her kiddos are napping or at school. And this is essentially virtual assistance work, and it kind of falls under that umbrella. She's just focusing on only offering proofreading and editing services from home. So she can offer those services to people she already knows in the field, or she can post on job boards like Upwork or Fiverr or any other online forum where people are looking for her particular skills. And we are going to be going more in depth about starting a virtual assistance business as busy moms in an upcoming episode. So stay tuned for that one. I'm not going to leave you hanging. We will be covering that more. But bottom line, practicing doesn't have to be something huge and time consuming? It can be, but I always encourage moms to start small, especially when you've still got littles at home. Focus on maybe just a couple hours of work a week. You can always add more hours as you grow in confidence or you get quicker at the different tasks. This is how I started my virtual assistance business. I talked with a woman I knew was an author and an online coach, and I offered to help proof and edit her weekly email newsletters. Well, she actually ended up hiring me to write her newsletters, which bumped up my skills real fast. But she became my first client, and I worked with her for several years. So I started with just a few hours a month writing these newsletters, and my hours grew from there as I felt comfortable taking on more work. So we can start really small. And one of the biggest benefits to working even just a few hours a week or a month is that it gives you something to put on your resume when you decide it is time to go back to work. You may not be ready right now. You may not be thinking that going back to work is going to be on your radar for a while. Maybe your kids are still really little and you're like, well, maybe once they're all in like high school, I'll think about this. Life happens. I mean, I didn't really plan on going back to work as soon as I did either, but I needed to. So it's always good to just have little things that we can put on our resume to keep building up that experience, even when the time commitment is very small. So that big benefit, working a few hours a week or a few hours a month is going to give you something to put on that resume for when you need it. And then after you've been practicing for a while your kiddos are still little or before you actually need to go back to work, you're not going to have that employment gap to worry about. You're showing employers that you've been serious about this line of work for a while, even if you're not working a ton of hours, but you've been working toward it. You've been improving your skills, and now you're ready to hit the ground running. So lots of benefit from a small amount of effort in those mom cracks of your day. Our priority as moms is always going to be our families, and we can also start preparing for our dream jobs while our kids are small or while we're doing all the things at home. It doesn't have to mean sacrificing time away from your kiddos. Just a little bit of time each week has a major payoff in the long run. So I hope these lessons from Barbie and the Three Musketeers have been helpful and encouraging for you. And I highly recommend checking out the movie, especially if you've got young girls at home. It's such a good one. So if you have a dream that you've been sitting on for a while and feeling like maybe you don't have time to pursue it yet, I so encourage you to just take a small step toward it this week. Find someone in that field to mentor you. Look into ways you can practice just an hour or so a week from home. Maybe you need to hop on a clarity coaching call and let me walk you through the process like we did for Natalie and figure out how you can find a mentor, how you can fit practice into your busy life, and what your best next step actually is. Or maybe you're not sure what your dream is. Maybe you just need a clarity coaching call to dig into your personality, your skills, your experiences, and discover what your dream could be. Either way, if you'd like to have a guide for the process and just get you to that next right step for you, head over to scatteredwoman.com/clarity and get your call scheduled. I can't wait to hear what your dream is and see how you're able to follow these Barbie-inspired steps and make it a reality when the time is right. Talk to you next episode. Thanks for taking time to hang out with me today. I hope you'll continue to discover new pieces of your Mosaic mom life each week. Do you have a question you'd like me to tackle for you in an upcoming episode? If so, be sure to send me a quick voicemail message. I'd love to hear your voice for a change and know exactly how to be praying with and for you this week. Head over to scatteredwoman.com/voicemail to leave that message. Also, If you've got a quick minute between those never-ending snack requests from your kiddos, I'd love for you to leave a quick review on the Mosaic Mom Life page on Apple Podcasts. Those reviews really help other moms find the show, discover their purpose, and start building a life they'll love too. That's all for now. Be sure to check back next week for our next episode, and I'll be talking with you again soon.